Hey there, and welcome to Making Finances Sexy. I'm Jessica Lay, your Rent Rave owned realtor and certified instructor with 101 Financial, right here in the Valley of the Sun. And it is hot, hot, hot right now. It is my mission to help you transition from renting to homeownership, no matter your situation. I'm here to be your personal finance coach and first time home buyer specialist. And of course, with me is the lovely Rose Short.
What up, guys? It's me, the Red Queen. I'm also a realtor here in the Phoenix Valley, as well as a financial consultant and CEO of Conoco Luxury. And my mission to help you build your dream lifestyle, build those multiple income streams so you don't have to worry about retirement, plan for the future to live the life you want.
And I'm excited to get into location in the real estate space. It's all about finding the perfect neighborhood for you and your lifestyle. So we're going to talk a little bit about how to find that perfect neighborhood for you when you are house hunting.
Yes, neighborhood is so important because, as we always say, you can change things about the house you don't like, but you can't change where it's at.
Exactly. So a couple key reasons why it is important. First reason we'll get into is the quality of life. So the neighborhood you choose can significantly impact your day-to-day. Factors like the safety, community, amenities, and overall atmosphere can greatly influence your satisfaction with your new home. So like if you're like me personally, I'm not a city dweller. I prefer to be out in openness, open land. I can think clearer. If I was to live like downtown Phoenix, I think I would go crazy because listening to all the sirens and the people, like it just creates a lot of clutter in my brain and I just can't handle it personally. So I like a neighborhood that's quiet. I like a little bit more dark at night and just peace in my neighborhood. But some people love the city. I've met people that love to be able to walk down the street to their grocery store, or they just love the hustle and bustle and getting to do things. And that might be your style as well.
For sure.
Another reason would be the property value. So the desirability of a neighborhood can directly affect the value of your home. Homes in sought after, well-maintained neighborhoods tend to appreciate and value more over time, making it a wise investment.
Yeah, if you're in an area that is already kind of sketched and it just seems to be going more downhill, it's not likely that the property value is going to go up.
Definitely not. And then, yeah, just the accessibility and convenience. So the location of your neighborhood, if you want to be in close proximity of work or certain schools for your kids, also certain shopping, other important destinations to you can impact your lifestyle and commute time. I used to love being close to where I worked because like the commute, it's really helpful when you don't have to travel 30 or minutes or an hour out from your home. And then depending upon if you have certain plans or responsibilities after work or before work, it's just some things to consider when you're finding your perfect neighborhood.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
We
And then,
spend way too much time in our cars to drive to and from work.
yes, and like some people like the long drive. It's not terrible because sometimes a longer drive, if you're a really busy person, as soon as you come home, that longer drive can really help reset your brain. You can listen to podcasts or books at that time. That's what I like to do when I know I have a longer commute. And sometimes that's the only time I get to listen to things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, the drive's not necessarily bad, but the traffic might be, right? So that's something else to consider too is traffic patterns when you're looking at where to buy. Because if you're going opposite of where the rush hour traffic is, then it's great, right? Because your commute's a lot shorter. But if what you're looking at is going to put you in the same flow as the rush hour traffic, and you're going to have to add 20 to 30 minutes for traffic jams, then that's something you have to consider.
Totally. And then future resale potential when it comes to time to sell your home, the neighborhood's reputation and desirability could play a huge role in the resale value and speed of the transaction if you do need to sell.
And that's one of the benefits of buying on like the outskirts and whatnot too, if you don't like the city, because let's face it, like cities are still constantly expanding. Especially like here in Phoenix, we have way more people trying to move here than we have housing for. So, you might find something really cheap out in like Santan or Buckeye or even Surprise. But in 5 or 10 years, once the city's expanded, the resale is probably going to go up significantly because there's going to be more shops, there's going to be more of that convenience in the location where you're at, and so when you sell, you're more than likely going to make a profit, versus if you're buying downtown, it's already pretty much sought after, so there's not as much room for linear growth there as necessarily on the outskirts.
Mm-hmm. And then community engagement, a well-established active community can provide a sense of belonging and opportunities for social interaction, which can greatly enhance your overall living experience, along with your personal preferences. Different individuals may have a unique preference and priorities when it comes to their ideal neighborhood, such as the quality of its local schools, the availability of outdoor rec spaces, or a mix of residential and commercial properties. So make a list of like your wants, needs, like wants, necessities, and things like that, because you're not going to get everything that you ultimately desire in your neighborhood, but you can get at least close to everything.
Yeah, one thing we didn't really take into account when we were buying was bike lanes and this availability for road cycling. So like we cycled all the time in Texas, and we even cycled quite a bit in Colorado, and like we still cycle quite a bit here in Phoenix as well. But if we lived closer to like Arcadia or Scottsdale or even areas of Tempe where it's got easy access to the canal and much better built out bike lanes, then it'd be a lot easier. Whereas the cycling lanes that we have here on our roads are pretty sketch, pretty small, and not really established. They haven't been there that long, right? So, we don't road bike as much as we would like to, just because it's not that easy to just leave our house and road bike versus taking out the mountain bikes or taking the dog's bike joring, because we do thankfully have the fields and whatnot near us. But just to do like a simple bike, road bike ride and obey the laws of the road and whatnot, it's not easy because the cycling lanes here are just really nerve-wracking.
Totally. And Arizona drivers.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I say like, the well-established lanes in like the other areas of town, like the drivers around there are more used to cyclists being there, versus here, like we're kind of the only ones. And so we get looked at kind of weird, and there's always somebody who like almost hits us.
So you bring us to a really good next point I wanted to cover, was some helpful tips to assist people in deciding on the best neighborhood for them. And the first part is research the neighborhood thoroughly, explore their crime rates, school district ratings, amenities. You can look online, but also your realtor is a fantastic source to get you all of this information as well, and saves you time on the research. And then visit the area at different times of day and get a sense of the overall vibe and activity level. Because if you like visiting a neighborhood at 11 in the morning could be significantly different than after work hours, 4 to 6 p.m., and yeah.
Yeah. And that's one thing too, that, if you're under contract, but you're not really sure in the inspection phase, you can go there at 11 o'clock at night and then be like, I'm sorry, I don't like the neighborhood. at night, right? And like that's a totally valid reason to get out of a contract if the neighborhood is not what you want it to be
Definitely that.
within the limits of the contract, obviously.
Yes. And again, your real estate professional can help you out with that. Consider your lifestyle and priorities, that wants and needs list. Determine what's most important to you, such as that proximity to work, access to public transportation if you need it, or the availability of recreational activities that you and your family enjoy doing. Interacting with locals of the neighborhood. You can speak with residents. I know COVID has made us a little bit more timid around each other, but something that's been weighing heavily on my mind and heart lately is we need to communicate more again. I know there's some sketchy people and whatnot, but honestly, just having a conversation with somebody when you're looking for that home, you can get firsthand insights about the area and community and any potential issues that could skew your desire to live in that particular place.
Yeah, and that's one of the best things about open houses, right? Is because open houses almost always bring neighbors. And so you can always, speak to the neighbors if you're at an open house and like you're considering buying the house, the neighbors out front, and ask them how they like the neighborhood, like things like that. Like it's totally fine.
Yeah, definitely. And then analyzing the neighborhood's growth potential, which again is information you can get from your real estate professional. You look for signs of ongoing developments, the infrastructure improvements, or upcoming changes that could impact the neighborhood's future. You can also look on the city's like websites and things like that to see what kind of events they hold or future projects that they're planning to bring into that particular neighborhood. One thing I think of is Glendale. They're opening that big like water park adventure, whatever. And I've been
Yep.
hearing mixed thoughts, like a lot of people that currently live in that area, they're kind of bummed about it because that's going to bring a lot more, it's not always a bad thing, the tourism and stuff like that, but also the noise is going to change in the homes and apartment complexes that are around there and things like that. So
Traffic patterns.
exactly. So definitely look into future projects because there might be something that you don't really feel well and agree with that could be coming to that neighborhood.
Yeah. Or there might be a project plan that would bring eminent domain into effect, right? Which is where the government could be like, hey, we're going to pay you this much for your house because we're going to build a road here. So that's something to consider as well.
Totally. That's actually happening to a business. There's like in Goodyear, it's called Roman's Oasis. They have to move because they need to widen that road, Yuma Road here in Goodyear, and they have to close down now and rebuild someplace else, which happens more often than not, especially in a vastly growing city like Phoenix.
Yeah. Yeah. And eminent domain is not necessarily a bad thing. Like oftentimes they will pay, what's fair. But there are, of course, always horror stories of people getting lowballed and having no choice. So it's just something to look out for.
Yeah. And the last thing I just wanted to touch on again is consult with a real estate agent. Working with a local agent that can provide valuable insights about the neighborhood, including its market trends, school districts, and potential challenges. Just leverage their expertise to identify the neighborhoods that best match your criteria and budget. So if you come to me with your list, we can really pinpoint and narrow down places that work for you and your lifestyle, and you can be happy once you move in. That's kind of all I got. So just following these tips, you can make a more informed decision and find the neighborhood that aligns with your needs, lifestyle, and long-term goals, ensuring a satisfying home buying experience, which everyone deserves.
Yes. All right, guys, the next week we're going to talk about something that is valuable to real estate agents as well as lenders and other professionals, but also if you're trying to build a business, and that is the importance of continuing your education. So I will tell you a fun story about why I fired a marketing guru and get into why educating and continuing educating yourself is extremely important.
Yes, learning is sexy and it can increase your income.
Yeah.